What's up, YouTube? My name is Kenny J, the insurance guru, and this is Kenny J TV. Welcome to Kenny J TV. If you are a first-time viewer, feel free to browse around and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell for my latest notification. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to Kenny J TV. We are back at it again with another video in our series of tips on passing the insurance state exam. And in this video, we will be touching on homeowners insurance. This is a very broad and important section in the exam. I spent a lot of my time while studying, and also when I teach other people and my students on how to pass the insurance state exam, this is a section where we spend a lot of time on. So I wanted to overview what homeowners insurance is, the different types of homeowners insurance, to help you better understand what it is for the exam so you can be successful. So what makes a home eligible for homeowners insurance? Well, first off, it has to be owner occupied. So the person that owns that home also has to be the one that's living in the home as well. Homes that are under construction are not eligible, as well as farm dwellings are not eligible as well. So who is insured with a homeowner's policy? The name insured, and of course the spouse. Anyone under 21 and in the care of the insured, which can include exchange students as well as foster students, and any full-time student under the age of 24 is also covered with homeowners insurance. This may be just to North Carolina, so I would check your state just to make sure that this is correct for your respective state. But if the homeowners insurance company does not renew you, they have to give you a 30-day notice prior to the non-renewal. So there's different coverages in the homeowners insurance. You have coverage A, B, C, and so forth. So for coverage A, that is the dwelling coverage. And the dwelling coverage is the physical home, the building materials it took to build the home. When you look at a home, that is what is considered the dwelling. Side note, if you're renting a home, you would not have dwelling coverage on your policy because you're covering your personal property, not the dwelling. The landlord or the owner of that home would cover that under a dwelling policy, which of course we will get into in another video. Coverage B, or other structures, is another coverage that is under the homeowner's insurance. An example of other structures would be a detached garage. It has to be a clear space between the dwelling and the structure. If it is attached, then it of course would be considered under the dwelling. But if you are doing any type of business in the other structure, it would not be covered. So for example, if you have a detached garage and you're running a mechanic shop out of there, that would not be eligible for other structures in the policy. Coverage C on a policy is personal property. The example I always give my clients is, imagine you're in your home, you take off the roof, you turn it upside down and shake it. Anything that falls out is your personal property. So think about your clothes, your furniture, your TV. Anything that you brought into that home is considered personal property. And that is a main focus on a renter's policy, which is an HO4, which we'll get into a little bit more in the video. They focus on personal property because, like I said before, there is no dwelling coverage on that type of policy. Also, you may not know that personal property can be covered anywhere in the world. So let's say, for example, you are in a car accident or your car is broken into and things are stolen from your car. A lot of people think that you go to your auto insurance for that coverage. You go to your auto insurance to get money for those things that you have lost, but you actually go to your homeowner's insurance because there's no property coverage for your belongings on your auto policy. Personal property that would be excluded from this policy would be pets, property of renters or boarders, and motorized vehicles unless they are used to service the premises. Coverage D is additional living expenses. So think about if your home were to burn down or it is inhabitable and you are not able to live there, where in the world are you going to go? That coverage is there to put you up in a home, an Airbnb, a hotel, an apartment until your home is able to be lived in again. I had a client that their house burned all the way down to the ground and they were very concerned and really didn't know where they were going to go, but they were able to find their apartment and they had X amount of dollars to spend towards that apartment until their home was done. So that is a very important feature on your policy. Make sure that you are paying attention to these different coverages because they all are very important, and the more that you know, the more that you can explain and help your client and educate them on how important these coverages actually are. Coverage E is personal liability, which is bodily injury or property damage. An example I always like to give is you have a dinner party at your home and someone gets super sick from food poisoning due to the food that you cooked, and they have the medical bills and so forth. They can actually sue you and your personal liability would pay out for that incident. Or of course, if someone gets hurt on your premises and it is your fault or the insured is at fault, your personal liability will pay that person out. Coverage F is medical payments, which of course would not cover the insured. It also will cover employees and staff on the premises that work in the home. And the coverage is for on or off the premises due to the insured's activities. Now that we've gotten those coverages out the way, it's time to dive into the different types of homeowners insurance. When I was reading through this the first time and taking my test, I'm like, how am I going to remember all of these different policies? And surely enough, I was able to do it, but the wording was a little tricky. But once I started working in the industry and understanding the difference between an HO3 and an HO4 or an HO4 and an HO8, everything started making a lot more sense. Once you're working in the industry, I promise everything will be so much clearer and it'll make a lot more sense. But I'm gonna break down the policies in the most simple term possible to help you understand it for the exam. A HO3 is the most popular type of homeowners insurance. When you think of a normal home, an HO3 would be that policy. So when someone calls and says, hey Kenny, I'm looking for a homeowner's insurance quote, can you help me? And then I ask, well, what type of home do you own? And they say, well, it's a new construction home or it's just a few years old. I know automatically to put them through the HO3. That is what most homes use as their insurance coverage. And you'll see that once you start writing insurance yourself. A HO4, all that is a renter's policy. And the main focus of a renter's policy is the personal property, as I stated before, and it will cover your personal property on or off the premises or anywhere in the world. So if your laptop is stolen off the premises, you can still file a claim with your HO4 policy to get a reimbursement for that laptop. And your personal property for your HO4 policy is usually covered at replacement cost. Your HO4 policy also covers liability or legal expenses as well as additional living expenses if you aren't able to live in that home as well. So it's kind of similar to an HO3, but there are some differences as well. The HO3 has a lot more coverages in there because you're covering a physical dwelling opposed to just your personal property, liability, and additional living expenses. An HO5, the easiest way I can put it is for high net worth homes in high risk areas. That is all you need to know for the exam. I have personally never written an HO5, but I know when the time would come to write those. So as long as you know that, that is all you need to know for the exam. An HO6 policy is a condo unit owner policy. So if you own a condominium, think about if you're living in a big city and you have a nice high-rise condo and you're like, okay, I need homeowners insurance because I own it, but I don't need an HO3 because it's not a single family home, that's when you would turn to the HO6. And HO6s can be a little tricky because the Homeowners Association does cover certain things, and different homeowners associations cover different things. So it is very important as the agent to reach out to your client and let them know, hey, do you have the information of what the HOA covers and what they don't? Because when you do, you're able to cater and tailor that policy to that client. An HO7 policy is a mobile home policy. It is basically a HO3, but for mobile homes that cannot be covered under a normal HO3. HO7 is where you would put those homes. Some different type of homes that are covered under HO4s would be modular homes, single wide, double wide, RVs, travel trailers, and fifth wheel trailers as well. An HO8 policy is usually for older homes that don't meet the requirements of an HO3 due to aluminum wiring, outdated plumbing, or a roof that's falling apart. So you have that luxury of not having to update everything before you're technically eligible for the policy. But if you're like, I want to update all of this before I get that policy, then you would be eligible for an HO3. But of course, people don't have the money or people don't have the time and they need to get into the house. So that is when an HO8 would come into play. HOAs are super valuable because, like I said, if you're ready to move into that home, you're able to do so without having a 4-point inspection. None of that is required for an HOA. And that is the breakdown of homeowners insurance. What is one thing that you learned from this video regarding homeowners insurance? I know that taking the test can be stressful and it can be a lot, but just know that you got it. Homeowners insurance is one of my favorite policies to write as a licensed insurance broker. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell for my latest notification. We are dropping a video every week, and also there are more videos coming for this series. Again, my name is Kenny J, the insurance guru, and this is Kenny J TV.